Did anyone listen to Washington? The rise of political parties under the first president. Under the provisions of the Constitution, George Washington was elected the first president of the United States by the Electoral College. The people of the United States also voted for Washington, but as Washington ran unopposed, meaning there was no other candidate, the real race was for vice president. John Adams received the second most votes in the Electoral College and therefore became the first VP. As the first president, Washington had nothing on which to base any decisions he made about setting up the government. Because there were no political parties at this point, Washington, who was not a member of any party anyway, focused on choosing the best people suited for the jobs he needed them to do as members of his cabinet. The president's cabinet is a group of advisors who suggest what they believe are the best policies to help the country. Washington chose Thomas Jefferson to be his Secretary of State, Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury, Henry Knox as Secretary of War, later to be called Secretary of Defense, and Edmund Randolph as Attorney General. While Washington may not have been a formal member of any political party, and, in fact, argued that political parties would hurt the future of the nation, differences of opinion between Jefferson and Hamilton quickly led to their establishment. Jefferson believed that the United States was a nation of farmers and would continue to be so. He believed that the national government should play less of a role in the lives of the people, preferring state governments to be dominant. He became known as a strict constructionist, arguing that if something was not provided for in the Constitution, then the national government could not do it. He argued that those things would be better done on the state level. Hamilton, who was an original Federalist and supported the ratification of the Constitution through his writings in the Federalist Papers, continued to believe that a strong central government was needed for the nation to grow and thrive. He was a loose constructionist, arguing that the Necessary and Proper Clause in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution gave the national government powers to deal with things that could not have been foreseen by the authors of the Constitution. He believed that manufacturing and business would be what made the United States become a powerful country, and that the national government needed to help make that possible. Hamilton saw an opportunity to strengthen the national government by taking over the debt that individual states had run up during the Revolution. Investors to whom the state debt was owed would then want the national government to succeed more than the individual state governments so that they would get the return on their loans. According to Hamilton, there needed to be some place to hold the money of investors, and a national bank made perfect sense as the place to do that. Even though there was nothing in the Constitution that said the national government could create a bank, Hamilton believed that the Necessary and Proper Clause of Article 1, Section 8 gave Congress the power to do just that. Strict constructionists saw this as an effort on the part of Hamilton to strengthen the national government at the expense of state governments, which it was. The problem for this group was that Hamilton's supporters outnumbered those who opposed the bank. So after a compromise was manufactured that would move the capital city of the country to a location between Maryland and Virginia along the Potomac River, Hamilton got his bank. This dispute led to a division between the supporters of Hamilton and those of Jefferson. Thus began the United States' first party system, with Hamilton's supporters becoming known as Federalists and Jefferson's supporters becoming known as Democratic Republicans.